morning, Grenada, Curwen, Pity Martinique. Good morning, especially to those of you in the diaspora considering coming home for Carnival. We hope this morning to present some information to you that will give you the impetus and the drive to ensure that Carnival 2023 takes you in Grenada and not looking at us via the medium by which you're doing now. I am going to just provide some overview of the presentation that's going to happen this morning, and my colleagues are going to delve a little deeper into the substantive issues that the RGPF wishes for you to know. Coming off the heels of a 4.2% contraction in crimes reported to the police in 2022 over 2021, we have since the start of 2023 saw an uptick in reported violent crimes, particularly among our young people during the first quarter of 2023. However, our fortunes have become a little better as we approach May 2023, when we start seeing a 20% decrease, a 2% contraction over the first quarter in 2023. Our murder rate for this year has already surpassed our reported figures for 2022, and we are still 5 months out to the end of the year. Gun-reported crimes have also been showing their ugly heads across our country, forcing us to respond in ways that we have not had to before. Comforting to us, though, is the fact that we have been having overwhelming cooperation from the public, which has allowed us to confiscate several illegal firearms, making our streets safer for the enjoyment of all. And to this end, we will not let up. We have established or initiated several strategies in an effort to mitigate this scourge, and to this point, it is bearing tremendous fruits. We have had to deal with offensive weapons in general, which points to the fact that our people have been failing to settle the disputes amicably without the use of weapons, even at some of our schools. Property crimes continue to be our Achilles heels, and the loss to homeowners, businesses, farmers, and others have had a negative impact on our economy. ASP Hall will drill down a bit more in this area. An average of 14 accidents per day for a small country as ours have been drawing down heavily on our traffic response resources. And as we get closer to Carnival, if we are not careful, the impact will not only affect law enforcement, but will also impact our friends in the medical field as well as insurance companies. Inspector Smith will provide greater details in this regard. We cannot continue on this path. We must do everything as a nation to not allow Grenada to follow the pathway of some of our closest neighbors. We thank you, members of the media and the public, for your continued support and cooperation, and we urge those of you who have not yet seen the trajectory to wake up and play your part. Those of you wishing to host activities not only for Carnival but generally, are reminded that pursuant to Section 18 of the Noise Pollution Act, permission from the Commissioner of Police to play amplified music must reach the police 10 clear days before the date of the activities. Failure to adhere to the law may result in delays and may be the determining factor whether permission is granted at all. As we approach Carnival, we urge you, as the premier law enforcement entity in the country, to ensure that we all play our collective part and shared responsibility in ensuring that Carnival is safe and that at the end of it all, Grenada remains the tranquil and peaceful nation that we are known for. Thank you.
Thank you, ACP Curwen. At this time, we move to ASP Hall to make his presentation. ASP Hall.
Good morning to you, moderator, ASP Douglas, ACP Curwen, Inspector Smith, the media, fellow citizens of Grenada. It is my responsibility today to update you on the state of crime within our beloved nation and emphasize the importance of community partnership in reducing criminal activity. Firstly, let me acknowledge that the Royal Grenada Police Force remains committed to ensuring the safety and security of every citizen. Crime is an unfortunate reality faced by many society, and Grenada is no exception. It is important that we address these issues proactively, collaboratively, and with shared sense of responsibility. Crime is everybody's business. It doesn't matter whether you are directly or indirectly involved, crime affects you. You are living in a community, a society, and what goes bad or good within your community impacts you. It affects how you live and socialize. Crime has negative financial implications. It can increase spending on healthcare, increase spending on the protection of your property. It creates a level of fear. It invades your privacy. We therefore strongly encourage that you don't just sit by and watch crime occurring within your community and record it and post it on social media and say, it's not me, I'm staying silent. According to our quarterly report at the end of March 2023, there was an 8.4% increase in crimes. However, at the end of May 2023, we are happy to report that we are seeing the needle heading down. There has been a reduction by almost 2% to 6.6%. As regards sex crime, there has been a 46% reduction compared to the same period in 2022. There has been a 1.4% increase in harm offenses and 6.6% increase in assault offenses. At present, we have recorded 12 homicides, of which 10 are murders. Of these 10 murders, 2 are unsolved and continue to be vigorously investigated. These are the death of Josiah John T. Robinson at BBC Beach and the death of James Telesford, who was found at Tantine and later succumbed to his injuries at the General Hospital. Additionally, Dwayne McDonald of Mount Pleasant, Carriacou, is still wanted for the death of Randy McIntosh. I take this opportunity to remind persons with information on either of these matters to come forward and allow us to bring closure to them. Property crime continues to be our most prevalent category of offenses and poses the greatest challenge in terms of detecting. In the first quarter, there was a 21% increase in property-related offenses. This has reduced to a 17% increase over the last year at the end of May. As we continue to pay close attention to property, violent crimes, we implore you, the citizen, to maintain a sober head. Despite the temptation around this time of the year, when you party, consume excessive alcohol, and drop our guards. In order to safeguard our communities and protect ourselves, it is essential that we take steps to harden potential targets by implementing a few simple yet effective measures. We can significantly reduce the risk of falling victims to crime. Ensure your buildings are properly secured, including have sturdy doors and windows that can be properly locked. If necessary, install iron bars over doors and windows. Remove all plants or shrubs that obscure view. This can make it easy for thieves to enter undetected. Always leave a light on inside and outside of your building at nights. Install CCTV and ensure they are positioned strategically to capture all means of entry and exit of your property. If you lose your keys, change the locks immediately. Don't keep large sums of money on you or on your property. Avoid using ATMs at night and in lonely places. Walk in company at night. Avoid walking in alleyways, bushy and lonely areas. When socializing, avoid leaving your drinks unattended and do not accept drinks from strangers. Park your vehicle in well-lit areas. Keep valuables and personal items out of view. Avoid keeping large sums of money in your cash register. Be on the lookout for counterfeit. Have 2 or more persons do night safety deposit and rotate periods of cash deposit. And leave lights on at night within your business. We are not naive of the fact that we will still experience deviant and negative behavior. Persons considering or being encouraged to engage in such behavior are reminded that your action causes embarrassment for your family and friends, puts financial burden on them. Additionally, it creates a criminal record for you, which can impact future opportunities such as employment. Further, there are penalties for your actions such as prison sentences. Some of these penalties for offenses are capital murder, you can face death, non-capital murder, life in prison, attempt capital murder, life in prison, attempt non-capital murder, 20 years, dangerous harm, 20 years, robbery with violence, 30 years, robbery, 20 years, housebreaking and stealing, 15 years. We therefore appeal to you, to those with intention to commit crime, and especially those who leave their homes with offensive weapons. There is no need to go to a function with a weapon for security. The police are there to secure you. In conclusion, reducing crime requires a joint effort from both law enforcement and the community. Let us come together to build a safer and more prosperous Grenada, where every person can live without fear. Stay vigilant, support one another, and remember that by working hand in hand, we can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ASP Hall. And we now invite Inspector Smith to make his presentation.
Good morning, Mr. Moderator, ACP Curwen, ASP Hall, the viewing public. Pleasant morning to you. The Traffic Department has experienced an increase in accidents, and these are basically due to the influx of vehicles on our nation's road. Hence, the Traffic Department have employed different means in terms of curbing accidents, the causes of accidents, by employing a number of different means. For instance, we have increased our foot patrols, especially in areas of choke points and intersections where driver rage might be more evident. We have also increased our traffic checks in terms of night and day checks. We have also increased our mobile patrol in terms of ensuring that persons does not drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs. We have also seen a decrease in the number of accidents in comparison to last year and this year up to June at this time. Last year we had a total of 1,459 accidents. This year we had a total of 1,060 accidents. Also, in comparison of June of 2022 and June of 2023, we had a total of 288 for 2023 and a total of 227 for June of 2023, resulting in a 23.7% decrease. And those decreases can be credited to our vigilance in terms of our foot patrols and placing persons at different choke points and static duties at certain locations. We have also seen a decrease in persons driving under the influence of alcohol, and that can be credited to the night patrols as well. In that light, we want to encourage persons that driving under the influence of alcohol or drug, it is an offense. Now, persons must exceed this prescribed limit, and the prescribed limit for alcohol in one system is 70 micrograms of alcohol in 100 milliliters of blood. All right, and it carries a fine of $5,000 for the first instance and $10,000 for a second instance, which carry a prison term of 12 months and 18 months. And those fines can be fine and imprisonment at the same time. We have observed that our road accidents are mainly caused by distracted driving and speeding. So we want to urge persons that using a handheld mobile device while driving, it is an offense which carries a fine of $3,500 and carry a ticket fine of $500 or $150, that is for a private vehicle, and $500 for a public service vehicle. Also, driving without a license. We have seen an increase in persons driving without being the holder of a driving license. So we want to urge persons that anyone who drives on our road, any vehicle of any class or description without being the holder of a driving license, it is an offense and carries a fine of $1,000 or 6 months in prison. But there is a steeper fine for persons who engage in such practices for public service vehicles. So there is a $4,000 fine for persons who drive public service vehicles and an 18-month imprisonment sentence without being the holder of a driving license. We have also seen an increase in persons affixing additional lights to the front and rear of motor vehicles. The law says that any figures or letters other than those on the identification plate that are affixed to the front of the vehicle are additional light, in exception of those that are affixed by the manufacturer for that standard make and model. One might say, why can I affix a light to my vehicle? But they are what we refer to as accessories. So the standard make, what the manufacturer put on that vehicle, that is the lights that that vehicle should have. But there is an exception to that. You can affix lights, but you need to get the approval of the commissioner in writing in order to have additional lights. Also, number plates. We have seen persons affixing brackets to the front of their vehicles and placing the number plate downwards. But the law says that the number plates should be affixed to the front and the rear of the vehicle in the area provided by the manufacturer, or is approved by the licensing authority. And the place that is approved by the licensing authority is to the center of the front bumper and to the place provided at the rear of the vehicle by the manufacturer. The law also spells out that the letters on the registration plate must be in an upright position and easily distinguishable. So if that plate is turned downwards, then the number are not upright and straight, and it's not easily distinguishable by the affixing of the brackets. The law also makes reference to plate, and we see persons using decals, registration decals, to affix the registration letters and figures to the front of those vehicles. So you must have a registration plate. We have also seen, in terms of additional lights, we have also seen persons brake light flickering and so on. That is an offense. The law says that you should not alter the function, the intensity, the function or intensity of any light that is affixed to the vehicle by the manufacturer. So by altering the brake light, in other words, that is flickering, it is an offense, and that carries a fine of $500 or a fixed penalty ticket of $150. There is also an increase in persons leaving motor vehicle unattended. And when I say unattended, the law says in Regulation 26.6 that he or she shall, before quitting the motor vehicle, stop the engine and apply the brakes, meaning the hand brakes. All right, so the vehicle must be switched off, all right, and the hand brakes must be applied before one quit that vehicle. Now, failing to apply your hand brakes or switching off that vehicle, that can result in the vehicle being stolen, and also that vehicle can move forward and move backward and cause an accident. So, as a department, we are urging persons to ensure that that you switch off the engine and the handbrake is applied before quitting your vehicle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Inspector Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the presentations. At this time, we're about to entertain any questions that the members of the media may have. Before we do so, I wish to inform you that we would be grateful if you be reasonable in asking of your questions. We ask that you limit your questions to 2 so that we allow others an opportunity to do likewise. We ask that you keep your questions relevant to the matters discussed. We will host a press conference to discuss matters specific to Carnival 2023, so your concerns about Carnival matters can be raised then. We now invite any member of the media who has a question to pose your question. Thank you. So we recognize GBN. Please go ahead with your question.
Good morning. One of my questions, I don't know if I must have missed that in the beginning because I did come in a little bit late, but did you speak to anything relating to gun violence? And where are we in that?
Well, we did speak about gun violence. I don't know particularly what your question is focusing on, but we did give an overview as to where we are. We have indicated that we have been seeing some gun violence and that we applaud the efforts of the public in working with law enforcement to ensure we arrest the situation. We have had tremendous successes in this particular area. We have confiscated quite a number of illegal guns from the street, which makes the street safer, and you can appreciate the fact that as we get closer to Carnival, this will be one of our premier responsibility, one of our premier target, that we want to ensure that Carnival 2023 is as safe as we can make it.
What about illegal immigrants coming in? Is there any idea if these guns are coming in from that route?
For obvious reasons, I trust that you would appreciate the fact that we do not want to divulge much of the information in terms of route and some of the strategies that we are currently employing. We want to get a handle on what is happening, or we are working the areas that we thought is best. And speaking too much on these issues for obvious reasons might not be security-wise. So yes, we're looking at all areas, including illegal immigrants, including shipments on the port. Nothing is out of the loop. We're looking at all possibilities as to where these guns might be coming from, but I do not want to discuss very much more on this medium here.
Thank you very much. We now recognize Archer. Who is that person? Please go ahead with your question.
Good morning. This is not Archer, this is Kalishra. I'm borrowing my son's device, sorry. I logged in late as well, so I'm not sure if the investigation involving the young man who was found on BBC Beach Dead was covered, but I would like an update on this. What is happening with the investigation at this time?
Good morning to you, Galistra, and thanks for your question. Yes, in the beginning, I spoke on the investigation as it relates to Janty Robinson. We are continuing our investigation in this matter. We have recorded several statements, interviewed several persons, and we are pursuing all the leads possible that comes our way.
Does the police have on record complaints by this young man in the past of being targeted in any particular way? And can you say how those matters were dealt with before his death, if there were complaints coming to the police?
From our investigation, we have not discovered any complaint that was made thus far to the police as it relates to incidents prior to leading to his death.
Is the police having any particular difficulty in pursuing this matter or any particular influence? I know that the police is not supposed to, and you're upstanding men and women of the police force, but and that you would ignore any sort of influence that is put your way. But are you facing that? Is there any difficulty with the investigation at this time?
And no, there is no influence, any external influence. We are conducting the investigation as normal as we go through any other homicide investigation.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ferreira. Anyone else has a question? Any other member of the media?
Yes, I'm not sure if Johnson is just near. Just have a question I want to pose to Mr. Curwen. Does the police have any set policy with respect to the dealings with media practitioners? Is there a set policy how the media deals with related to media practitioners, how to feel and performing their duties?
Mr. Johnson, I'll yield to Mr. Douglas, who is now in charge of C.I.D, for him to take that question, even if you've directed the question at me.
Yes, thank you very much for your question, Mr. Richardson. And before I attempt to answer you, I just wish to ask that the questions be posed generally, and the panel will decide who is the fittest person to answer. We are guided by our media policy. There is a media policy that the RGPF operates by, and that guides our engagements with members of the media. So yes, we do have a policy in place.
Okay, does that policy speak to, how then the police coming out of training, or when training schools, do you have any guided system where those information are passed on to young officers getting into the public, engaging in the day-to-day engagement with media practitioners? And I say so primarily because I've had several issues in the recent past with police officers, particularly how they relate to and how they treat media people. And it's to me, it appears to me that there is a miscommunication in most part, and it suggests to me that either the police does not understand functioning of the media in the whole democratic process. And that's why I asked the question, and I don't know if those policies are passed down to your training school, and therefore in the day-to-day functioning of your officers, how they relate to the media people.
Okay, thank you very much. We do make every effort to ensure that every police officer is aware of their responsibilities where the media is concerned. I am not aware of the specific circumstances that you speak to, so I'm not able to answer whether those particular individuals are fully familiar with the procedure. However, I would ask that you share the information with us. You can do so with me particularly, and I will certainly look into it and ensure that the situation is remedied if there is a breach.
I will share with you now. And I have two instances in the town of Guelph.
But I did. Sorry. I didn't mean otherwise. Not through this medium.
No, but I need answers now, because I really, it's something that has been on my chest for a while, and I'm waiting for happening like this to bring it out. You know. Only recently when I was covering an incident, court matter in the town of Guelph, right? Now, the moment the media arrived there at that police station in Guelph, right? Not the first time. The moment the media arrived, the police brought out caution tape, right? I would understand safety might be a factor here if persons believe that a prisoner's life is in danger. I understand that, right? But it was clearly not the case in Guelph. The last time I was there, right? So the caution tape was brought out, right? And the media, despite every effort, were debarred from getting across on the other side of that tape.
Mr. Johnson, if I may, I don't wish to cut you short, but you would recognize that you're taking quite a bit of time to explain the circumstances, which is exactly why I asked you to address the issue with us separately. So you can, in fact, I will call you after this engagement so we can discuss that matter, and I'll certainly endeavor to give you the answers to your questions.
But you see the same problem I've had when you call for information, I'm not getting information. So that is where the only avenue I could get. When we call the police, we're not getting information. And that's why I asked if there is a guiding policy with respect to how media people have been treated. But I understand, and I would wait. I would wait.
Yes. What I would like to add to that is that I have had calls from members of the media regarding issues pertaining to code, and I've given them the pertinent answers. There are circumstances where, depending on the nature of matters, members of the media may not be allowed to cover those matters. There are such circumstances. So we can only discuss the matters properly, and I can only give you answers properly if I'm fully aware of the circumstances of the particular situation. So I will call you as indicated, and we will discuss it. Thank you very much. GBN, do you have another question?
Yes, I have another question. I know you said stick to what is carded for today, but I just wanted you to speak to a boat that was found in the Grenada waters yesterday by Grenville fishermen. I think they found passports and food items. Nobody in it.
Thank you for this question. Yes, indeed. Yesterday, 2 fishermen from Grenville have identified a boat almost 2 miles out of River and Twine. There was no occupants on the boat. There was some clothing and some passports. I do not wish to disclose the nationality of the passport at this point. This matter is currently under investigation. It has happened yesterday, as you has indicated, and so we are in the infantry stage of this investigation. As information becomes available, we'll make it available to the public when we know more than we currently do now. But to answer your question definitively, yes, we are currently investigating this matter.
Ms. Ferreira, do you have another question?
Well, actually, I wanted to follow up on the matter that Johnson raised a while ago, and to make a suggestion that we may be due, as we had done quite a while ago, several years ago, we may be due for a sit-down between the Media Association of Grenada and the relevant officials within the police force, because there is this, while we have individual relationships with police officers, there is an atmosphere of hostility that exists, and sometimes I do get what Johnson was talking about, where police officers seem to think it is part of their duty to block us from getting information. And we are all aware as media people, we're not allowed to enter the court when there are matters that have to do with minors and sex crimes. We understand that, and we do not breach that as far as I know. But there are other situations where when the media is the police goes all commando on us. So maybe it might be time for some communication with us. And also, Mr. Douglas, I am still hoping that one day my numerous requests to you for an interview will be accepted. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the suggestion, and I am in agreement with it. However, I must clear this with my superiors, so I'll certainly do that. I think it's a very good suggestion, so I look forward to us having that engagement. Any other question from a member of the media? Okay, if not, at this time, we have come to the end of the presentations and the question segment. I now, on behalf of the Commissioner and members of the Royal Grenada Police Force, say a hearty thank you to the management and staff of the Grenada Information Services and Parliament Building for facilitating the hosting of this press conference, to the members of the media who have joined us, for your questions, and also for assisting us in getting this important information out to persons who did not receive it during the conference. We thank you for that. Thanks to the presenters for your informative and instructive presentations. Thanks to you, the members of the public, for having joined us this morning to receive this information. We urge you to share